Tutoriales de gramática.
Grammar tutorials.
Pronombres personales. 1.
Personal pronouns. Part 1. What is a personal pronoun? A personal pronoun is a word that refers to a particular person in the grammatical sense. That is, first, second, or third person. Personal pronouns have various forms and functions, and in this video, we will take a look at several of them. We will learn about subject pronouns such as yo and tú, the pronoun me with verbs like gustar, and reflexive pronouns such as the me used with the verb llamarse.
Me gusta tu estilo. Por cierto, yo me llamo Juan. ¿Y tú?
Subject pronouns. A subject pronoun is the word in a sentence that reveals who or what is carrying out the action.
Yo. ¿Y tú? Y ella también.
First-person subject pronouns correspond to the perspective of the person who is speaking, whether that subject is singular,
Yo. Y yo.
or plural.
Nosotros. Y nosotras.
Second-person subject pronouns refer to the people we are addressing when we talk. We use them when we address one person,
Tú. Tú.
or when we address someone more formally,
Usted.
or when we are speaking to two or more people.
Ustedes. Ustedes.
Finally, third-person subject pronouns correspond to the people or things doing something in a sentence we are speaking about. When we are talking about someone whose gender is masculine, we use
Él.
If we are speaking about someone whose gender is feminine, we use
Ella.
And when we refer to two or more persons of masculine gender, we use
Ellos.
If we are speaking about two or more persons of feminine gender, we use
Ellas.
In today's society, trends include a healthy debate regarding possible formulas to represent non-binary persons. Subject pronouns. Forms. Here are the subject pronouns in Spanish.
Yo. Tú. Vos. Usted. Él. Ella. Nosotros. Nosotras. Vosotros. Vosotras. Ustedes. Ellos. Ellas.
Feminine plural forms. Plural subject pronouns that are marked as feminine, nosotras, ellas, and vosotras as well, are used to refer to groups composed exclusively of members who are of feminine gender.
Ellas.
If at least one of the members of a group is masculine, most speakers use the plural masculine form. By tradition, this form is considered the default and not marked for gender.
Ellos. Ellos. Ellos.
However, it is becoming more and more common to state both forms of plural pronouns to point out that a group is comprised of both masculine and feminine members.
Ellas y ellos.
Use of usted, vosotros, and vos. Usted is the form used to address someone with courtesy or respect. It is used when there is a perceived difference in rank within social hierarchy, with people older than you that you don't know well, and with older people in general.
Tú. Usted.
Remember that ustedes is the form that is the most used in the majority of Spanish-speaking countries to address informally more than one person at a time. However, in most of Spain, the plural vosotros, vosotras is used instead of ustedes when addressing informally more than one person at a time. You'll recall that tú is the most used form in the majority of Spanish-speaking countries to address one single person in an informal way. But it's also important to note that in several Latin American countries, such as Argentina, Uruguay, Paraguay, Costa Rica, and in the Andean regions of Venezuela and Colombia, the singular vos is used instead of tú.
¿Vosotros sois de Uruguay? No, somos de Argentina. ¿Y vos?
When to use and when not to use subject pronouns. Unlike English, in Spanish, we usually do not need subject pronouns. Why? Because in Spanish, verb conjugations normally make clear who the subject is. In this example,
Hola, soy Javier.
the verb soy could only have as a subject yo and no one else, so it is not necessary to say yo. However, there are times when it is appropriate to use subject pronouns in Spanish. Use subject pronouns to emphasize a contrast when there are two or more people in question.
Hola, soy Javier. Yo soy Laura y ella es Viviana.
Or when not using the subject pronoun could potentially lead to confusion.
Ella es de Buenos Aires.
Me gusta and me gustan. The verb gustar requires a different set of pronouns. For now, let's focus on just two forms, me gusta and me gustan.
No me gusta este libro.
The verb gustar, to like, behaves the opposite of other common verbs. To understand better how gustar works, let's take a look at another verb that functions in a typical way. For example, the verb odiar, to hate.
Odio este libro.
In this sentence, with the verb odiar, the subject is the person who experiences the emotion, the person who does something. In this case, the person has a negative feeling about the book, but this is not the case with the verb gustar.
No me gusta este libro.
Now, with gustar, the subject is not the person who experiences the emotion. Rather, the grammatical subject is the thing that provokes the emotion, that is, este libro. To get an even clearer picture, let's look at what happens with the plural estos libros.
Odio estos libros.
With odiar, the person who has the feeling is the subject, and since that person is singular, the verb agrees and is also singular. But with a verb like gustar, the opposite happens.
No me gustan estos libros.
The subject is what generates the emotion, and if that subject is plural, the verb must also be plural because it has to agree with the subject. Reflexive pronouns. Verbs such as llamarse are used with a type of pronouns called reflexives. This set of pronouns reflects the subject of the verb it goes with.
Yo me llamo Luis y ellos se llaman Jorge y María.
It is a good idea to learn the reflexive pronouns together with the conjugated forms of llamarse, a very commonly used verb. That way, it will serve as a model to conjugate other verbs that work the same. For example, ducharse, levantarse, vestirse. Notice how each of these infinitive verbs are always shown with the se pronoun at the end.